High Commander Zextal stood before the massive viewing screen, his four eyes fixed on the blue-green planet below. His scaled skin sparkled under the soft lights of the Krivax command ship as a satisfied smile spread across his face. The planet designated as Eden 7 looked perfectly vulnerable. "My lord," his chief strategist said, bowing slightly. "The human colony appears to be primarily agricultural. Our scans show minimal defensive capabilities and no orbital weapons platforms." Zextal nodded slowly. The Krivax Dominion had conquered 12 worlds in the past solar cycle, but this one would be different. This time, they would test their newest weapons. "Show me the war beasts," he commanded. The screen changed to display massive holding cells deep within the ship. Inside each cell, nightmarish creatures paced back and forth. They stood as tall as transport vehicles, with thick armored scales covering their muscular bodies. Each war beast had 6 legs ending in razor-sharp claws, and 2 heads, one for tracking prey with enhanced smell and hearing, the other equipped with thermal vision, and a jaw that could crush steel. Dr. Vekra, the lead scientist, stepped forward. She was smaller than most Krivax, but her reputation for creating biological weapons made others nervous. "Commander, these are our finest creations yet. We combine the most lethal features from 50 different species across the galaxy. They can survive in any environment, heal from most injuries, and hunt without rest for weeks." "And the breeding controls?" Zextal asked, remembering past disasters. "All war beasts are sterile, my lord. They will only live for 1 planetary cycle, long enough to destroy any resistance." Dr. Vectra's voice carried a hint of pride. "We also installed a genetic kill switch, just in case." The commander turned to his military advisor. "How many human settlements are on Eden 7? 23 major cities, hundreds of smaller towns. Population approximately 40 million. The advisor displayed a map showing clusters of human activity. They appear to focus on grain production and some mining operations. Zextal studied the map carefully. The humans had spread themselves thin across the continent, making them perfect targets. "How many war beasts are ready?" 1,000, Commander. "We can drop them in waves of 200. "Perfect." Zextal's secondary heart beat faster with excitement. "Begin the operation. Drop the first wave near their largest food production centers. Let's see how these humans handle real predators." The launch bay doors opened silently in space. 200 massive pods descended toward Eden 7, each containing a war beast in suspended animation. As they entered the atmosphere, they looked like falling stars. On the planet below, farmers were finishing their evening work. Some noticed the strange lights in the sky, but few worried. Eden 7 often had meteor showers this time of year. The first pod crashed in a wheat field 50 kilometers from Capital City. Its shell cracked open, releasing a cloud of steam. Inside, a war beast opened all 4 of its eyes and took its first breath of Earth colony air. The creature's 2 heads rose above the wheat, scanning its surroundings. Its enhanced senses detected thousands of potential prey nearby. In the command ship, Zextal watched the first beast emerge through the creature's own eye sensors. "Send in the next wave in 6 hours. By then, these humans will understand true fear." Dr. Vekra made a final note in her log. "Operation Harvest begins. Expected resistance time, 3 days. Expected survival rate of human population, less than 10%. She was wrong on both counts. Catastrophically wrong. Tom Chen was driving his harvester when the first distress call came through. His friend Jack's voice crackled over the radio, sounding unlike anything Tom had ever heard before. "Something's out here in the wheat field. It's bigger than my tractor. 2 heads. Holy shit, it just jumped over." The transmission cut off with a burst of static. Tom stopped his harvester and checked his tablet. The emergency alert system was lighting up with similar reports across the farming region. He zoomed out on the map and saw red dots appearing everywhere something was spotted. The pattern looked deliberate. In the capital city emergency response center, Director Sarah Martinez watched the same map with growing concern. "Get me satellite footage of Zone 7, she ordered. The wall screen shifted to show thermal images of the wheat fields. Large heat signatures moved through the crops with frightening speed. "Ma'am," her assistant said, "local police are reporting multiple casualties. But something's odd. The farmers are organizing faster than expected." Sarah nodded. "Of course they are. Every colonist on Eden 7 has to pass basic emergency response training. We didn't survive 3 generations on an alien planet by panicking." She grabbed her comm unit. "Get me Ronald Chen from the Wildlife Management Division. Now." Above the planet, Commander Zextal and his officers watched in confusion. The war beasts were performing perfectly. They had already destroyed several farming vehicles and killed dozens of humans. But instead of running away in terror, the humans were adapting. "My lord," his tactical officer reported, "the humans are using their harvesting machines as mobile fortresses. They're coordinating through their communication networks and sharing effective tactics." On the main screen, they watched as a group of farmers used their massive harvesting machines to form a circle. When a war beast attacked, they worked together, using the machine's heavy equipment to drive it back. One farmer even managed to injure the creature with some kind of modified farming tool. Dr. Vectra studied the readings with growing unease. "This isn't right. Their response time is too quick, too organized." In the fields below, Tom Chen had joined a convoy of harvesters heading to a safe zone. His tablet was filling with useful information: effective tactics, weak points in the creature's armor, safe routes to evacuation centers. Someone had even started a live map showing confirmed beast locations. "Attention all units," a calm voice came over the emergency channel. It was Director Martinez. "Wildlife management teams are deploying. Until they arrive, remember your basic training. Stay in groups. Use your vehicles for protection. These are just animals. Big ones, yes, but still just animals. We've handled dangerous wildlife before." A different voice cut in, older with an Australian accent. "This is Ronald Chen. My teams analyzed the first footage. These beasties are built for speed and power, but they're not used to smart prey. Use your harvester's lights to confuse their thermal vision. They don't like the sound of the engines either. Keep broadcasting movement patterns to the emergency network. Help is coming." In orbit, Commander Zextal watched with growing frustration as humans across the planet shared information and organized their defenses. The death toll was rising, yes, but far too slowly. And now his sensors showed human military vessels approaching from the far side of the planet. "Launch the second wave," he ordered. "All 200 war beasts. Let's see how they handle that." Dr. Vectra made another note. "Human response exceeds predictions. Recommend immediate deployment of all remaining units." She didn't realize it yet, but she was about to make things much, much worse. Dr. Emma Chen stood in front of the emergency response team, pointing at a holographic map of Eden 7. Her grandfather had been one of the first Australian wildlife experts to colonize this planet, and right now, that heritage was proving invaluable. "Look familiar?" she asked, showing an old Earth video next to footage of a war beast attack. "These aliens basically created oversized versions of Earth's apex predators. And you know what? We've been dealing with dangerous animals for centuries." The room was packed with farmers, hunters, and wildlife management experts. Many had Australian, African, and North American ancestry, people whose ancestors had handled Earth's most dangerous creatures. "Their hunting pattern is similar to old Earth big cats," Emma explained. "Two heads or not, they're still following basic predator instincts. And that means we can trap them." Outside, another wave of war beasts had just landed. But this time, the humans were ready. Teams of farmers had already modified their equipment based on successful defensive tactics shared during the first wave. Something that would have taken months of military planning happened in hours thanks to social media and emergency broadcast systems. In orbit, Commander Zextol received disturbing reports. "What do you mean they're hunting the hunters?" he demanded. His tactical officer showed him footage from a war beast's visual feed. The creature was chasing what looked like an injured human on a small vehicle. Suddenly, the human led the beast into a trap, a deep pit covered with smart camouflage technology. The beast fell in, and before it could climb out, the humans had it contained. "They're using our own creature's aggression against them," Dr. Vectra said, her voice showing hints of admiration. "And they're studying them." In a makeshift research facility, Emma and her team examined their captured war beast. The creature was securely contained, but still very much alive. "Look at these genetic markers," she said, pointing to a screen. "They're not as stable as natural evolution. These things were rushed into production." Her colleague, Dr. James Wong, nodded. "The thermal vision system has major blind spots, and their aggression levels, they're too high, makes them predictable." He smiled. "Want to know the best part? Their genetic kill switch. We found it." Back in the fields, farmers had started calling the war beasts space dingoes, a nickname that quickly spread across the colony. Teams of hunters, using modified farming equipment and techniques passed down through generations of dealing with dangerous wildlife, were now actively tracking the creatures. Sarah Martinez received updated casualty reports. The numbers were still tragic, but nowhere near what they should have been facing such powerful creatures. The colonists' preparation and experience were paying off. Director Martinez, a young technician, burst into her office. "You need to see this. The Chen Wang research team. They've not only figured out how to track the beasts more effectively, they think they can modify the creature's genetic programming." In orbit, Commander Zextol watched in growing horror as his invasion force became a series of research subjects and hunting trophies. Even worse, his sensors detected something new. Humans were setting up specialized capture zones, using techniques that seemed impossible for a primitive agricultural world to develop so quickly. "Launch the final wave," he ordered desperately. "All remaining war beasts. Now." Dr. Vectra updated her log one more time. "Warning: humans displaying unprecedented adaptation rate. Tactical reassessment strongly recommended." But by then, the humans weren't just surviving. They were innovating, and what came next would shock the entire galactic community. Mike Torres adjusted his modified harvester's control panel, watching the war beast through his thermal camera. His machine didn't look like a farming vehicle anymore. The cabin was reinforced with salvaged metal, and the cutting blades had been repositioned to act as defensive weapons. He wasn't alone. Across Eden 7, farmers had transformed their equipment into mobile fortresses. Target moving north through Section 12. His radio crackled. "Mike, you've got one heading your way. The new sonic pulses are working. It's getting disoriented." Mike smiled. Just 3 days ago, they'd discovered the war beast's sensitive hearing could be exploited. Now, every vehicle had sonic broadcasters installed, tuned to frequencies that confused the creature's dual-headed sensory system. In her research lab, Emma Chen watched live feeds from multiple hunting teams. "Look at this," she said to Dr. Wong, pointing at behavior patterns on her screen. "They're adapting to our tactics, but their programming limits their intelligence. They can't overcome their basic hunting instincts." Dr. Wong nodded, examining genetic data from their captured specimens. Their creators made them too perfect as predators. No flexibility, no ability to change strategy. He laughed. "Ironically, that makes them predictable." Up in orbit, Commander Zextel's mood grew darker with each report. His war beasts were still dangerous. They'd destroyed property and taken lives, but the humans had adapted faster than anyone thought possible. Worse, they were actively hunting his perfect weapons. "My lord," his tactical officer said nervously, "we're detecting numerous modifications to human equipment. They're sharing designs through their information networks." Every successful tactic is being copied and improved upon within hours. Dr. Vectra studied the data with growing alarm. The humans had already developed 8 different effective countermeasures against her war beasts. Commander, they're not just defending anymore. They're experimenting. On the planet's surface, a group of ranch hands had discovered another weakness in the war beast's design. They're like big cats, explained Maria Rodriguez, broadcasting to the colony's emergency channel. They get tunnel vision when chasing prey. We can use that. Her team demonstrated the technique, using smaller vehicles to distract the beasts while larger machines moved into position. The strategy worked brilliantly. 3 more creatures captured in just one morning. In Capital City, Director Martinez received an unexpected request. "Sir," her assistant said, "the entertainment division wants to start broadcasting war beast hunts. They say it'll help maintain morale and share tactics." Martinez looked at her casualty reports. The numbers had dropped dramatically since the first day. Now, humans were taking the offensive. "Approve it," she said. "But remind them, safety first. These aren't game animals." Too late. The broadcasts had already begun, and something unexpected was happening. Colonists were competing to develop better hunting methods. Social media filled with videos of successful captures and innovative trap designs. Someone had even started a scoreboard. In orbit, Commander Zextal watched in disbelief as his invasion turned into what humans were calling extreme sport hunting. His war beasts, meant to terrorize, had become targets in an increasingly organized and efficient hunting operation. "How?" he demanded. "How are they treating this like a game?" Dr. Vectra's response was quiet. "Sir, I don't think we understood what we were dealing with. These humans, they're not just surviving. They're treating this as a challenge to overcome, and they're enjoying it." On her screen, another war beast fell into a perfectly executed trap, while humans celebrated and immediately began improving their design for the next hunt. Dr. James Wong stared at his laboratory screen in disbelief. After 5 days of studying captured war beasts, his team had made an incredible discovery. He grabbed his comm unit and called Emma immediately. "Emma, you need to see this," he said, barely containing his excitement. "Remember how we thought their genetic code was rushed? It's worse than that. They copied and pasted DNA sequences without proper testing." Emma Chen rushed into the lab, her hair still messy from working late. The screen showed detailed genetic maps of the war beasts, with several sections highlighted in red. "Look here," James pointed. "They combined DNA from multiple apex predators, but they didn't account for genetic drift. These creatures are literally falling apart at the molecular level. They only live for one planetary cycle because they have to. They'd break down anyway." In another part of the research facility, Dr. Sarah Martinez watched through reinforced glass as scientists conducted tests on a sedated juvenile war beast. The creature was smaller than the adults, but still larger than an earth elephant. What fascinated her was how it responded to different stimuli. "It's like they programmed them with only one setting: hunt and kill," she explained to the Colony Council via video link. "There's no off switch, no way to calm down. That's not just bad design. It's dangerous for the creators too." Up in orbit, Commander Zextal received the worst report yet. "What do you mean they're improving our design?" he roared at Dr. Vectra. The scientist looked terrified. "Sir, the humans, they're not just studying the war beasts. They're finding ways to fix our mistakes. Their scientists are talking about genetic stabilization, improved sensory integration, even enhanced intelligence." On her screen, human researchers worked efficiently in their labs. They had already mapped the entire war beast genome and identified dozens of flaws in the design. What had taken the Krivax years to create, the humans were understanding and improving upon in days. Back in the lab, Emma made another breakthrough. "James, the kill switch you found, it's not just for emergencies. Look at the code structure. They built these things to fail. Planned obsolescence in a living weapon. James shook his head in disgust. No wonder they're so aggressive. Their bodies are literally fighting themselves. He pulled up another screen. But look what happens if we stabilize this sequence here. The modified genetic code showed much more stability. In theory, it would create a creature with all the strength of a war beast, but without the fatal flaws in the original design. In the capital city command center, Director Martinez received the latest reports with a smile. "Send this to every research center on Eden 7, she ordered, "and get me the Galactic Council on the line. I think it's time we showed the Krivax what happens when you give humans a chance to improve your work." Meanwhile, in orbit, Commander Zextal watched in horror as human scientists shared their findings across their global network. His perfect weapons weren't just being defeated, they were being redesigned, improved, and understood at a level that should have been impossible for a primitive agricultural world. "Dr. Vekra," he said quietly, "what exactly have we given them?" The scientist's response was barely a whisper. "Sir, we didn't just give them weapons. We gave them a blueprint, and they're making it better." In the labs below, humans continued their work, not just surviving the invasion, but preparing to turn it into something the Krivax never expected, an opportunity. Lisa Chang adjusted her protective suit and approached the contained war beast. Unlike the first specimens they'd captured, this one was different. The creature watched her with intelligent eyes, its dual heads moving in perfect coordination, rather than the frenzied patterns of the originals. "Test Subject 7 is responding well to the genetic modifications," she reported into her recorder. "Aggression levels are within normal parameters, and the neural enhancement is showing promising results." Dr. Wong stood behind the safety barrier, monitoring the readings. The stabilized DNA sequence is holding. No signs of cellular degradation. He smiled. "We did it, Lisa. We fixed their rushed science." In the main control room, Emma Chen presented the results to Director Martinez and the Colony Council. The wall screens showed side-by-side comparisons of original war beasts and their improved versions. "The Krivax made them disposable," Emma explained. "But we've stabilized the genetic structure. Better yet, we've enhanced their intelligence. They're not just weapons anymore. They could be working animals, even companions with the right modifications." Martinez nodded approvingly. "And the behavioral controls." "That's the best part," Emma replied, switching to a new display. "Instead of forcing constant aggression, we introduced variable behavior patterns. They can be calm, playful even. The dual heads now work together instead of competing for dominance." Up in orbit, Commander Zextal received reports that made his scales pale. His spy drone showed humans not just controlling war beasts, but working with them. In one agricultural sector, they were using a modified beast to help move heavy equipment. "Impossible," he whispered. "Dr. Vekra, explain this." The scientists studied the footage with a mixture of horror and fascination. "They've done in days what took us years. And they're improving them, making them better than we ever could." On the planet's surface, the situation had changed dramatically. The remaining original war beasts were still dangerous, but now humans had an advantage, their own modified versions helping to track and capture them. Mike Torres, still in his modified harvester, watched in amazement as one of the new beasts, as people were calling them, helped his team corner an original. The difference was striking. Where the original was all fury and chaos, the new beast moved with purpose and intelligence. "Never thought I'd see the day," he said over the radio. "These things were supposed to kill us, and now they're helping us farm." Social media was buzzing with videos of new beasts. Some showed them helping with heavy lifting in the rebuilding efforts. Others captured moments of them playing with their handlers, their dual heads working in harmony instead of the glitchy, aggressive behavior of the originals. In her lab, Lisa made another breakthrough. "Dr. Wong, look at this." She pointed to her screen excitedly. "We can adjust the size too. Make smaller versions, more suitable for different tasks." Wong studied the data. The Krivax thought bigger was better, but they didn't consider practical applications. But we can create variants, some for heavy work, others for patrol, even smaller ones for search and rescue. Director Martinez received the latest update with satisfaction. She turned to her communication officer. Send a message to the Galactic Council. Tell them Eden 7 is ready to demonstrate our improvements to the Kryvax War Beast design. And add a note. We're filing patents for all of it. In orbit, Commander Zextal watched helplessly as his invasion force became humanity's newest technological breakthrough. The creatures designed to destroy them had instead given humans access to advanced genetic engineering. Dr. Vekra, he said grimly, I think we made a terrible mistake. The scientist nodded. Sir, we didn't just fail to defeat them. We've given them technology they never should have had. And they're using it better than we ever did. 2 weeks after the first war beast landed on Eden 7, the colony looked very different. Where there had once been panic, now there was purpose. And nowhere was this more evident than at the newly established Beast Management Center. Kelly Rodriguez, a former ranch hand turned beast trainer, stood in front of a group of visitors from neighboring colonies. Next to her stood Rex, a modified war beast that now helped patrol the colony's borders. His dual heads moved smoothly as he scanned the crowd, showing none of the aggressive twitching of the original design. As you can see, Kelly explained, patting Rex's scaled hide, the modified beasts are completely different from the originals. Thanks to Dr. Chen's team, they're smarter, calmer, and actually useful. In the research wing, Emma Chen watched through observation windows as children played with miniaturized versions of the war beasts, now officially renamed Guardian Companions in the patent applications. These smaller variants were the size of large dogs, their dual heads making them excellent at both play and protection. 6 different size variants now, Dr. Wong reported, walking up beside her. The construction companies love the heavy-duty models for moving equipment. Search and rescue teams are asking about the medium-sized trackers. And these little ones. He gestured to the playing children. We can't keep up with adoption requests. Director Martinez sat in her office, reviewing the latest economic projections. The attack that was meant to destroy them had instead created an entirely new industry. 5 other colonies had already placed orders for Guardian Companions, especially the agricultural variants that could help with farming. Ma'am, her assistant interrupted, you need to see this. The social media numbers are incredible. The video of that guardian beast helping rescue trapped farmers has gone viral across 3 solar systems. In orbit, Commander Zextal's mood grew darker with each report. The humans hadn't just survived, they were thriving. His spy drones showed guardian companions everywhere, helping rebuild damaged structures, patrolling farm boundaries, even participating in public entertainment events. They're marketing them, Dr. Vekfer said in disbelief, watching a promotional video from Eden 7's new beast development program. Different sizes, different capabilities. They've turned our weapons into products. Back on the surface, Mike Torres watched from his harvester as a team of guardian beasts helped clear debris from damaged fields. Their dual heads made them excellent at complex tasks. One head could watch for dangers while the other focused on precise movements. You know what's funny? He said to his crew. These things were supposed to be our doom. Now they're the best farm hands we've ever had. In the colony's main square, a statue was being erected. It showed a human farmer standing beside a modified beast, commemorating what people were already calling the 7 days of innovation, the week when humanity took an alien threat and turned it into a breakthrough. Kelly finished her tour group presentation with a demonstration. Rex and 2 other Guardian companions performed a complex series of maneuvers, showing how they could work together to move heavy objects, track specific scents, and respond to detailed commands. The best part, she told her amazed audience, they're completely loyal once bonded. These aren't just working animals, they're partners. And thanks to the genetic stabilization, they can live for decades. In her lab, Emma reviewed the latest test results. "Send this to the patent office," she told her team. "Version 7.0 is ready for production." And add a note. "This time, we did the science right." Up in his ship, Commander Zextol received one final insult. An advertisement from Eden 7, promoting their new line of Guardian companions, from more beasts to best friends. The future of human-animal cooperation. Dr. Vekra couldn't help but add a personal note to her final report. In trying to destroy human civilization, we accidentally helped them advance it by decades. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council fell silent as Director Sarah Martinez stepped up to the speaking platform. Behind her stood Dr. Emma Chen and Dr. James Wong. And beside them, perfectly calm and controlled, stood two Guardian companions. The council members, representing 50 different species, shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Many had heard about Eden 7's transformation of the war beasts, but seeing the results in person was different. "Honorable Council," Martinez began, her voice steady. "3 weeks ago, the Kryvax Dominion launched an illegal biological attack on our colony. They expected us to die. Instead, we thrived." The chamber's main screen displayed footage from the invasion, but not just the attacks. It showed the humans' response, their adaptation, and finally, their improvements to the war beast design. "We are here today," Martinez continued, "to file formal charges against the Kryvax Dominion for their attack. But we're also here to submit our patent claims for the Guardian Companion program." In the accused section, Commander Zextol sat with his officers, their scales pale with worry. Dr. Vekra, forced to testify, couldn't take her eyes off the modified beasts standing calmly by the humans. Emma Chen stepped forward next, activating a holographic display. "As you can see, the original war beast design was fundamentally flawed. Rushed development, unstable genetics, and forced aggression made them dangerous to everyone, including their creators." The display showed side-by-side comparisons of brain scans, genetic sequences, and behavior patterns. The differences between the original war beasts and the Guardian companions were striking. "We didn't just fix their mistakes," Dr. Wong added. "We created something entirely new." The Guardian Companion program now includes 7 different variants, each specifically designed for different roles in society. The council members watched in amazement as footage showed Guardian companions helping with construction, search and rescue, farming, and even working as therapy animals in their smaller forms. A council member from the Proxima sector spoke up. "And what do you want from the Kryvax Dominion as compensation for their attack?" Martinez smiled. "We don't want their money. We want their research, all of it. Every genetic sequence, every development node, every failed experiment. Not because we need it, but because they've proven they can't be trusted with it." The chamber erupted in surprised murmurs. No one had ever demanded research rights as war compensation before. Commander Zextol stood up in protest. "This is outrageous. That research is classified military technology." "Was classified," Martinez corrected him. "Your own attack gave us legal rights to it. We've already improved upon everything you did. Now we're just making it official." The council's Chief Justice leaned forward. "And what will you do with this research?" Emma stepped forward again. "We'll do what humans have always done. Make it better. The Guardian Companion program is already accepting orders from other worlds. We've turned weapons of war into tools of peace." As if to demonstrate, one of the Guardian companions gently picked up a dropped datapad with one head and returned it to a startled council member, while its other head maintained a watchful but friendly awareness of the room. The Chief Justice nodded slowly. "The council will review your evidence and claims. But I must ask, what guarantee do we have that humans won't misuse this technology as the Kryvax did?" Martinez's response was simple but powerful. "Look around this room. We took monsters designed to kill us and turned them into helpers and friends. We chose to improve rather than destroy. I think that says everything about how we'll use this technology." In the accused box, Dr. Vekra whispered to Commander Zextol, Sir, we didn't just lose our weapons program. We gave humans the keys to genetic engineering decades before they should have had it. The commander watched as the Guardian companions continued to impress the council with their perfect behavior. No, Doctor, he replied grimly. We did something far worse. We showed the galaxy that humans can take our best weapons and turn them into something better than we ever imagined. 1 year after the War Beast invasion, Eden 7 had become famous across the galaxy. The colony's main square now featured a busy spaceport where ships from dozens of worlds arrived daily, all coming to visit the Guardian Companion Development Center. Kelly Rodriguez, now the head trainer, led another tour group through the facility. The visitors included species from all corners of the galaxy, each interested in their own version of the Guardian Companion program. As you can see, she said, walking past the training areas, we now have 12 different variants. Each one is specially designed for the needs of different worlds and species. In one area, small Guardian companions played with children from 5 different species. In another, massive versions helped move heavy cargo. The dual-headed creatures moved with grace and intelligence, showing no signs of their violent origins. Emma Chen sat in her new office, looking at the latest sales figures. The Guardian Companion program had made Eden 7 one of the wealthiest colonies in human space, but more importantly, it had changed how the galaxy saw humans. Dr. Chen, her assistant called, the Kryvax delegation is here for their monthly inspection. Emma smiled. Part of the Galactic Council's ruling required the Kryvax to share all their biological research and submit to regular inspections. But these days, even they had to admit that humans had done something extraordinary with their failed weapon. Dr. Vekra, now working as a liaison between the Kryvax and Eden 7, walked in with several junior scientists. The new adaptation for water worlds is impressive, she admitted. We never thought of making them amphibious. That's because you were only thinking of weapons, Emma replied kindly. We thought about companions, helpers, and friends. It makes a difference. In the colony's residential area, Mike Torres watched his family's Guardian companion playing with his children. The creature that was meant to destroy their world had become as common as dogs were on Earth, with almost every family having at least one. You know what's funny? He told his wife. A year ago, we were fighting these things. Now I can't imagine life without them. Director Martinez stood at her window, watching ships land and take off. Eden 7 had become a center for genetic research and animal husbandry. Scientists from across the galaxy came to study how humans had achieved what they called the Great Transformation. Her computer chimed with a new report. The latest Guardian Companion variant, designed for space station security, had passed all its tests. Orders were already coming in from stations across 3 sectors. In orbit, where Commander Zextel's invasion fleet had once loomed, now floated a busy trade station. Ships arrived constantly, carrying customers eager to participate in the Guardian Companion program. On the outskirts of the colony, at the site where the first war beast had landed, stood a new museum. Inside, visitors could see the history of the invasion and transformation. The final exhibit showed a simple message. From every challenge, an opportunity. From every threat, a chance to grow. This is the human way. Back in her office, Emma received one final report for the day. The Galactic Council had approved their latest patent, a method for adapting Guardian companions to any world's environment. It was the 100th patent Eden 7 had received that year. She looked out her window at the busy streets below, where humans and aliens walked together, often accompanied by their Guardian companions. The creatures that were meant to be their doom had instead opened the door to a new era of cooperation and advancement. You know what the real mistake was, she said to Dr. Vekra, who nodded knowingly. Yes, the Kryvax scientist replied. We thought we were sending monsters to destroy you. Instead, we gave humans a chance to show the galaxy what they do best. Take something dangerous and make it wonderful. Outside, as the sun set on Eden 7, A new group of Guardian companions began their evening patrol, their dual heads alert but peaceful, protecting the world they were once meant to destroy. The war beasts had failed their original mission spectacularly, and the galaxy was better for it.